Hi and welcome back to Montreal. I am Marcus and yes, today I'm continuing my journeys through Vampire the Masquerade chapters in our second real chapter. We went through 2 prologue settings. Basically 4 actually. We went through 1 real chapter and the idea for today is really to continue our little journey. But I think for the first time in the game, we are going to start off with a so-called feeding event, because this potentially could allow us to reduce our hunger level to 0 before we are actually heading into the new adventures. We could also in theory spend our money. I keep forgetting what those Eigen boon is, the currency in this game. Right now we don't have any boons, so there's that. We will simply go for a feeding event. Right now we are still at level 0, our coterie here. Our Masquerade, I think it's still at 4. I think 0 is good, and if we're going the higher we get the worst things get. So we have Masquerade breach events and whatnot, and the status starts at 0. I don't really know when this is about to change or how this is going to change. Can only assume that whatever chapter conclusion will tell you, things are going up and down. But yeah, ultimately we are here at 0, and this will pretty much tell us where we can actually go for a hunt or feeding event. So this is basically a map of Montreal, I think, at least I can only assume. And again, we are currently at level 0, which means we can start at Montreal Nord, or we can go to Hochelaga, I believe this is going to be pronounced. I don't really know what to go for, and we have a bunch of these feeding events at our disposal. But again, it depends on our level, and it depends on where we go in each of these levels. Level 0 is always available to us, so even if our status would drop to a -1 or to -2, we could still go into these things. But all the others down here, I believe this simply has to do that basically other kindred will not really accept us there. That's at least how I understand it. So in Hochelaga, we can decide to go for a junkie, a social worker. We really get to choose which one of those. Each of these feeding events can only be done once during the entirety of the campaign. I will have to write it down somewhere, but I think the lone woman, I don't want to go after a social worker or a junkie. I think a lone woman kind of sounds okay. And there is again a scenario booklet for this one too, a storybook, the feeding events. Again, amazing artwork on this one. So let's simply go for the very first one, for the lone woman here. And this is where I will continue now with the app. And in fact, we do have a small introduction here. Located far away from the bustling nightlife of downtown Montreal Nord, nonetheless comes alive with the sounds of gunfire fights and shouting kind once the sun has set. Its residents, most of whom live below the poverty line, try to avoid going out at night for fear of the monsters that live in the dark. For many, these monsters are other mortals pushed to the brink, but rumors of other, more dangerous ones that will steal your blood abound. Okay, so now we are going into our actual feeding event, which again is the lone woman. Poor her. And here we have the lone woman with grocery bags on the street. Okay, well, she was just getting some groceries for her family. The lifeless streets of Montreal Nord come alive with the sound of grinding brakes and the lights of a late-night bus. As it stops, a lone woman disembarks, arms full of plastic grocery bags. You observe the scene from the other side of the street. You let her walk for a few blocks, during which time you gauge her step and posture. Your prey is weary, tired. Her clothes hang limply around her shoulders and her feet barely get off the ground as she walks. Her head hangs low, so low she is probably unaware of her surroundings. Okay, so now we have to make a choice, and we are doing this the entire coterie together. We can also decide not to do it at all, but it's really all or no one in the end. And we have 2 choices in this case. We can stalk her until the moment is right. Then we would have to do a physical approach, a physical test basically. Or we will go with a social skill, pretend you want to help her, bring her home and feed. So this is now basically where we are simply adding up either our physical dice or our social dice, and I believe I already see that here we will definitely go for the social approach. I think we have at least one or two more dice, which I can see. We will pick the social event. So Samuel is leading us a little bit with cautious here. Pretend you want to help her, bring her home and feed. And before we are now actually going into the actual event, at least this is how I understand the rules, you are now making the rules. So you don't really know what you would go for. So you could really game this game a little bit, because I believe on the other side of the booklet basically, or when I click on the next one, you will see some kind of a table, and the table will then tell you how many successes you need depending on the player count. So you could already see, hey, no, yeah, maybe social, I rolled more dice, but I need far less whatever successes and whatnot. So I will now roll all these dice. We are not doing any red dice. We are not allowed to use any disciplines and whatnot. This is simply that, and we are not using our skills in any way. So this is really a pure test of our thing here. And what did we get? That's not an awful lot. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes only. I don't really think that this is enough. Interesting. So let's continue down here. Pretend you want to help her. Okay, you approach her, sporting the nicest smile you can muster, and ask if she wants your help bringing her groceries to her apartment. The kind, exhausted agrees. You accompany her for a few more blocks. She opens the apartment complex front door and motion for you to follow her up the stairs. A quick glance is all you need to ascertain there are no cameras. Yeah, and already see that here. We had, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 successes with 4 players. This is not enough, so we have to move down to the failure effect here. That's a great start. You are about to lunge at the woman, but something must have warned her of your intent. She spins around and hits you across the face with the grocery bag. It rips and spills its contents onto the ground. She screams and runs away, locking herself in her apartment before you have time to reach her. You find yourself out of time to begin a new hunt. Take the foiled, okay, effect card. Let me bring that one out. And yeah, this is super bad. You've denied the beast its due. You would be wise not to do this again. Increase every coteries member's hunger by 1 at the start of the next chapter unless you succeed a feeding event. Okay, this is now interesting. Increase at the start of the next chapter. Would this now count for this one here already? Okay, I think because I'm relatively certain you can get these foil cards through other means as well, right? So I think it counts. We haven't really started. So this will happen now, and then we are discarding it right away because we can't go into another feeding event right now. Okay, I will take care of that, and then we should be more or less good to go to start our actual chapter. A ghoul at the flour mill. You take a couple of steps towards the building and make sure you're not being seen. The recent events weigh heavily on you. You wonder if the whole ordeal at the park is any indication that the Sabbat is truly back and plotting something in Montreal. From an outsider's point of view, things at the Five Roses might seem quite normal. Well, excluding you trying to sneak in, that is. Things are mostly quiet, with the exception of 2 workers making their way in and out of the building. They're carrying boxes and placing them inside a truck while chatting merrily. In reality, you suspect the ghoul who lost his phone and notes at the park is hiding in that building somewhere. You wonder if you'll find other hints in there that you can let know about the Sabbat's leader's plans. Regardless, you need to make sure the ghoul fesses up. The safety of all Montreal kindred depends on it. And so does your own. From far away, you perceive a small silhouette pacing back and forth. It's a watchman. Behind him, an emergency exit ladder. Next to you, a car. With a simple glance, you can find more than one way to get inside. You better think this over carefully, however. After all, you can't afford to screw this up. Time to find the ghoul and make him talk. Find the Sabbat's ghoul, and yeah, as usual, we are starting with event E1. I already have set up the game board. I will check the app, actually, because sometimes there are little minor errors on this one. So making sure that we are playing things right, and then yeah, let's kick it off. Okay, here we are. This is our flour mill. This is the watchman. These are the workers that are apparently walking in and out. And here's our foil. I already have increased the hunger level for each of our coterie members. So I guess we can get rid of this card right away. Let's set it aside. And then, yeah, let's jump into the very first event. You try to think of the best approach. You can either try to sneak past the watchman or talk to the two workers in order to gain some more information and hopefully convince them to let you go through. Of course, you could just distract them and sneak in while they're not looking. Whatever helps you get to the ghoul fastest. Okay, this is now interesting. If you enter the Watchman 21 line of sight without a stealth token, you must read Watchman Dialogue D1, but we are resuming playing. So what does this mean? We see the Watchman here and we see the little arrow on this, which means his line of sight is basically going from here to here and everything that's in the middle. So we can basically move in here with a sneak, for example. Then, yeah, we can maybe whatever talk to him directly. Not sure if we want to do that though, or if there is something we can do down here, because again, his line of sight is typically only a 3, which means 1, 2, and 3. So we can relatively easily sneak past him down here actually to see what's going on. But of course, we also, the introduction told us, here is a car. So I'm relatively certain that there is something we might be able to do with that. The question now really is, do we have a stealthy character at our disposal? No, I think only Harold and Nico, they only have 1 skill. So we're not really the strongest sneakers. And by the way, I believe I spent some points for some of those guys. I think, yeah, for Samuel actually, we got 3 experience points the last time, and I have given him 1 point in athletics, so he's moving a little bit faster. This was embarrassing. So I think going after this one might be worth it actually. So not sure who to send out to. I want to keep him close to that in case something happens there, but I'm also sure as soon as we are somehow interacting with him, maybe some sort of a timer kicks off. So maybe let's start slow. And this is where I really like this game a lot actually, because apparently there are more ways how you can deal with that. I want Nico and maybe these guys, so maybe let's send Harold down here next to the car. Again, right now we are not in round modus, so I can basically move them around willy-nilly. So he's moving next to this action token here, I believe. Car trouble. You take cover behind a car in the parking lot. From where you are, you can see the 2 workers at the entrance of the 5 Roses. They casually chat as they keep loading boxes, moving them from inside the mill all the way into the back of a truck. You're going to have to distract them if you want to enter the mill. Okay, find some way to trigger the alarm in order to attract the workers. So we have to make a mental plus technology check, difficulty 3. Or we can walk away from the car. Okay, we can basically say, no, you are not the right person to deal with that. But looking at his character sheet, I think he might be actually not the worst person to do that, because his mental is 3, so he's rolling 3 dice, and at least he's kicking things off with 1 technology. Right? Do we have someone? I think Nico, she's the one who has 2 of those. But I made my call now, so I will not now, because ultimately again, you can walk away, nothing would happen, then I could send Nico down, because right now we don't have a timer, but I really feel this, it doesn't feel right. So I will stick to him. If I wouldn't be able to do that now, or whatever, if this would call for something physical with Brawl, then yeah, I might really reconsider things. But in this case, yeah, let's go for the mental and the technology check. He's suffering from his anxiety, by the way, and anxiety says -1 social die for every 2 hunger points rounded down. 2 dice penalty. Right now we are at 2 hunger, so he would suffer that. But we are right now not rolling a social test. It's a mental test. But because we are quite hungry, we have to exchange 2 of these dice to red dice. So this could be already a pretty brutal thing. Let me see, we did have... Oh, this is nice. We have the we did it one. The coterie. You've won the battle, now onto the war. +1 die to your next skill check. That's our first skill check. Discard after use. Yeah, we are totally discarding, which means this is now really a black die. Okay, this might be just the thing we needed. That is cool. And yeah, that was great. 1, 2, 3 plus the 1 here. We have rolled 4 successes. Amazing. The difficulty was 3. Okay, let's see. Loud and clear. You successfully triggered the car's alarm. The 2 workers look in the car's general direction before running over. Set your characters and workers 20 on the designated hexes. Remove action token 3 from the tile, and workers 20 can no longer be interacted with. Okay, that was amazing. Nice job, Harold. So that's the new situation. These guys are looking here. We can no longer interact with them. And yeah, and we are basically up here, so we all move away from that line of sight. Cool stuff. And then the text says, you use this opportunity to sneak past them and into the building. Resume playing. So this means, I believe, we can now relatively easily sneak past them all, because they are looking basically in this direction and pretty much all that's directly adjacent around them. So we can easily move somewhere down here. And again, he's only looking that far. So that is cool. We can't really check out this one here. So this could be another way in, actually. We don't know yet, but I believe this is what we try to do, right? I think this was some kind of an entrance, right? So let's go this way. So, but I think this time I really want our fighters basically at the front of things. Maybe the Malkav as well, Harold. And I don't know, this guy is here. Again, we are not in round modus yet. And this is where this game is a little bit confusing, honestly, because usually you have these rounds, you walk around and then you have to wait and things are happening. There's a timer. I believe in the very first chapter we could have triggered a timer, but we didn't, or I didn't. Maybe something would have happened here too if I wouldn't have made the test now here. Maybe whatever, the watchman would have caught up to us or so, and then we would have been in this embarrassing discussion with him. And also maybe we can also talk our way out of this, but I believe that's what we wanted to achieve in this case. So we wanted to go after action token 2 here, right? I'm really hoping that things are turning out. And as I said, I'm relatively certain I will not replay a chapter when I fail it. That's something I hate about games, to really replay chapter. I really like the Imperial Assault, Lord of the Ring things, the journeys through Middle Earth, for example. Keep going, you will suffer maybe some consequences also, but replaying a chapter, this was what completely threw me off when I played Tainted Grail. It was one of the main reasons I ultimately gave it away after playing, I don't know, 3-4 sessions. I really hate that. The workers are here. That's a strange title. If workers 20 is adjacent to action token 2. No, they are no longer adjacent. I don't know. No. Otherwise, the way is clear and you could enter if you wish. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, right? I don't really care about this watchman right now. We want it to be fast, right? Oh, we are moving into a different tile. I didn't even know that this was a thing. I mean, ultimately it makes perfect sense. Okay, I really didn't know that. Cool. Inside the mill. You finally managed to enter the flour mill. Time to find this school. Okay, remove the current tile and all tokens, then set up tile 10. And then, yeah, we are basically setting up the game board here. So yeah, let me do that real quick. Okay, and here we are. This is our coterie. These are apparently 3-4 rooms with now investigation tokens on it. And now we are being told to read event E11. And apparently things are getting a little bit spicier now. We're just ranting about how strange this game is. But no, set the round tracker to 4. If the round tracker reaches 0, reset the round tracker to 4 and do so every time it reaches 0. Okay, set security guard 22. Is that the same one? No, that's actually a different one, or they have a different standee for that. On the designated hex, move security guard 22 every round according to... Oh, he's moving in paths. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, that is really cool. We can talk to him actually. And then we can, if you are in security, okay, it's basically the same dialogue event, it seems, but he comes now with a state card. So he's, I think, maybe hostile or so. I have to check that. And he is moving, I think, in the upper left corner. But he's basically the round track is only here to move him around. But okay, I like that. Okay, so this guy is up here And he is basically walking here in circle. No, he's moving around this room basically. And depending on the round, and we have to set it to 4. I will do that in a second. So here's our round tracker. Where are my little cubes? So again, we are starting here on 4, and at the end of the round, we are basically moving this down. And this then ultimately means he's moving according to this path. I think it's not really a path. I believe he's now moving from here to here, I suppose. I can only assume actually. So I think he's jumping basically. Again, this is 3, this is 2, this is 1, this is 0, and then he's moving to 4, and then he's basically moving in here. At least this is how I think. Or maybe at the end of the round he's moving here. No, I think we are moving him at the end of this round, then here, then there, though he's making really a circle here. It's still some kind of a move. The good thing about the security guard though is that he only has a line of sight of 2 apparently. Yeah, so we can, and I think given that, I think this is maybe our most important thing in the end, right? This is what we want to find out. Relatively certain about this. Oh, that is interesting. Not sure when we are moving him actually. Every round. What does every round mean? At the end of the round? At the start of the round? I don't know. But now movement actually does matter. And do we want to find out what they're doing? I have to come to, I think we are simply moving him at the start of the round, right? Why can't they say at the start of the round or at the end of the round? Does it change something for us? I think let's agree to move him at the start of the round. So he is moving now in here. And this basically tells us something, that when he's over here and we can basically follow him around, basically, we can then make it there without being seen. Not sure if being seen by him is a problem. He's not a hostile NPC, basically. I think this would have been a fist otherwise. So we can still talk to him. Other hostile characters will immediately fight us when we are coming in there, when we are being detected. We can still use our stealth, but as I mentioned, we are not very good at stealth actually. So what are we going to do now? We have now 2 movement points with Samuel, so maybe we want to figure out what's in here because he can just make it. So let's do that. So he's moving 1, 2 spaces over here and interacting with this investigation token here. So we have our loading dock here. You walk into the room, you hear a strange noise. You gaze in its direction and slowly walk towards the source. The closer you get, the more your suspicions are confirmed. There is most definitely something at the back of the room, hiding behind some old discarded boxes and flour sacks. Okay, we can make a mental and search check, or we can ignore that. Otherwise, resume playing. But yeah, no, I will want to find out what's here. So mental is okay for him. His search is atrocious. So he's rolling 2 dice now. But his search rating is atrocious. We are rolling 2 dice, both of which are red actually. And we don't have... No, I think in this case we will pass, but now we are in a round mode, so I think things are different now. So I think it's ultimately not that big of a deal. And then we are moving over to Harold Beaulieu, but he cannot make it, I believe. He has 2 movement points. Oh, not sure again how much of a timing issue we are running into. But again, hoping for 2 successes on the red dice here. Yeah, there are doubles on it. Should we try it? Should we try it? Come on, let's do it. We cannot re-roll them. That's really kind of a bummer with our willpower, actually. So yeah, let's hope for something. I mean, we need 2, right? Yeah. Get a better result. It's 1! Oh, awfully close. But at least we are not suffering from any hunger shenanigans. But maybe this could have been worse. You find nothing but dust and assume the noise was probably a product of your imagination. Remove investigation area token 1 from the tile. Interesting. Oof. Can we still win this chapter? I don't know. I believe failing this feeding event was already a problem because he would have been at 0 hunger basically. I believe at least if we would have been successful. So we would have rolled 2 black dice, which we could have rolled any number of times until we were running out of willpower. Yeah, it wasn't really the greatest thing to start with, but okay. So this was basically his turn done. I have to remember that somehow, so I will have to play some tracking tokens next to them actually. And I have some tokens here. just for me to remember things. So I will put it in here. No, I will place it onto his player board. Let's go over to Harold, because he's also right next here. He could be also exactly the wrong guy for the job. So he can move 2 spaces. So let's have him move 2 spaces. So maybe someone else could still make it down here into investigation token 2. Machine room front. A stack of boxes grabs your attention. You approach them to take a closer look. Make a mental plus awareness. That's more like it. I think he can do that quite well, actually. But we need 3 successes to, I think, get something meaningful out of this. But at least we are rolling 3 dice, and awareness is 2. So we already have 2 auto successes. And I keep hearing from folks on the Geek who basically, maybe I've mentioned that already, who are not treating these as auto successes anymore, because it seems some found this game too easy, though they say, okay, let's simply add them to the dice. At least you feel some level of challenge. But for now, I don't know what's ahead of me. So we are rolling, no, we should be rolling 2 red dice and 1 black die. Yeah, our hunger level is a 2. This sucks. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that is 1. That is okay. It doesn't really annihilate any of our successes. It simply means if we would have rolled more of these skulls, then we would have successes, including the auto successes. We would have suffered some hunger problems. But I think right now that is totally okay. 1 plus 2 is 3. I think that should be enough. And I believe now I already start to regret I did do that alone. I could move other characters with me, actually, but not anymore. Now we are in the middle of this thing. We can't break out of this. Everything else is frozen. Something inside one of the boxes is reflecting light. Could it be metal? Okay, you try to pull the box toward you as silently as possible, but it's stuck. And we need a 3. So physical plus athletics, which is 2 plus 1. So okay, he has 1 auto hit at least. Okay, this is really bad. So we are rolling 2 red dice now, because our physical says so. And this is again now again, if I had to fail this scenario, this is why I'm not doing this, I would completely know, hey, yeah, here needs to go this guy, there we need to go maybe with 2 guys so they can deal with it. So you can then start to game the game. And honestly, in a role-playing game like this, this is not in the spirit of the game. It's like time stories. I hated time stories, really going through these loops again. The first time in a new scene was always fun. You never made it in the first attempt. You always had to go back, but then you already knew, no, you have to go there, you have to go there, I go there, and then that's how we maybe manage it. Maybe you have to go in a 3rd time, but that's why you're so bored by all the text, because you already know what's going on. No, sorry for the rant, but that's why I don't like these kind of, let's say, rules mechanics where you have to go there. I know it was all part of the time stories element, really, you had to go through this, but in a game like this, this is not a good design in my mind. Anyway, we want to roll 2 successes basically on these dice, right? And that's 3. Okay, that was really close. So these are 2 successes plus 1. So that should be enough, actually. Even though he's not our strongest character, he made it. And here it says, you managed to pull the box toward you without making a sound. Nicely done. Inside you find a dismantled weapons. Ooh, except for one. A fully assembled shotgun! The serial number has been scratched out, indicating it's been stolen. On the shotgun you note traces of white powder and handprints. Next to the boxes you find bags of flour. It seems this weapon has been manipulated recently. Take clue token 2. Cool. And we are removing, yeah, okay, we are removing this from, but at least we have gotten something out of this. Okay, finally we are getting somewhere. So here's the clue token. I believe that's the clue token number 2. It belongs to the coterie, so no one really carries it around. Everyone can use it. That's at least my understanding. So let's place it, I don't know, somewhere up here. And we're removing this token here as well. But at least, yeah, I don't know, 50% successes. So this was his turn also done. I place a token onto his character board, and then it's, yeah, basically Nico and Thomas. And I think maybe I will now keep these guys together, actually. Yeah, let's do that to, I don't know, go after this space. So they're both moving. Okay, I could be using with Thomas actually his fleetness, right? You can use the blood once, basically. And with this, it says, add your celerity level to your movement. So it's basically a +1. And we can keep it online, basically, until the end of the combat sequence. I think so, but I think we can also use it right now already. Or if we are replacing it again, we can only have one active discipline, yeah, online at a time basically. But it would cost us potentially 1 hunger. So we have to make a rouse check. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Not sure if that's necessary or not, but I will do so. So he will activate his celerity, right, the fleetness ability. So we are putting it down here. It's active, so that will happen. But we have to make a rouse check. And the rouse check is good. This was a success. Okay, we are not gaining a hunger level. So he has now a movement of 3. Again, athletics +1. Cool. And the same is true for Nico. No, she's moving 3 actually. No, he's also moving 3 now. Yeah, exactly. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3, and we are moving her right behind her. We cannot move through these thick white borders, obviously. 1, 2, and 3. We can move through other friendly characters, but never through unfriendly characters. Makes sense, right? And then I think it's the end of the round. She could still also use a discipline or so. Is there anything we want to do? Presence, sense the unseen, auspex, awareness, insight. I don't know. We don't need it right now, actually, so let's not do it just yet. Okay, now the round is over, so we are moving down here. And I believe this simply means he's now moving here. So now I think I kind of understood things, and I'm not sure if he is actually here or here. I think he should be here actually instead. I think I was reading this incorrectly. Of course, here's the 4. Here's the 3, but he's looking away, and we have already moved him 1 space up. So he should be here on this token, actually, I believe. Not sure if he can be on that token or not. It's super confusing, but he's now moving over here. Oh, that is bad. I see that now. So right now that is okay. No, he can't move, look through that here, right? So he's looking 2 spaces in each of these directions, right? So here and here. But I believe he cannot look through these. Basically, this is a wall. I'm relatively certain they cannot look through that. Okay, I did place these cubes in here now because unfortunately the booklet is wrong. I think it's slightly off here, and the numbering is also incorrect in the booklet. So I'm really using the app now. So he should be here. It's still not clear if he should be moving at the end of the round. I really don't know. I really don't know. So next time he will be here, but he's then looking downward. So we could, in theory, maybe try to get him from behind. Let's see what that means. So we can definitely move through that here because here is a wall, so he doesn't see us. So we are moving him. He still has his movement of 3, right? Yeah. 1, 2, and 3. We are not going to make it. 1, 2, and 3. And these guys will only move 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's already the end of the round. Again, okay, I couldn't see that, but it doesn't matter too much. So we're moving down to 0. He's now moving in here, I believe. No, he's moving down this basically south even. Not really sure what that changes, but yeah, you never know. And then I think, yeah, let's simply move them both in here, 1 and 2, and then one of them will basically trigger the investigation area up here. So we have a slightly better chance of dealing with it. And here we have found a storage room. You enter the storage room, you immediately notice some footprints on the floor. When you look up, your eyes fall upon another worker from 5 Roses. The janitor. Okay, we are removing this token from the tile. He stares back at you. Read Larry the Janitor dialogue D1. Let's do that. Funny. You stare at the janitor. His appearance is vaguely reminiscent of a praying mantis. He squashes his cigarette butt inside a small bowl already covered in ashes, then takes a step in your direction. Who the hell are you? He shouts. If you have clue token 1, you recall what you have heard about Larry? No, unfortunately not. We have clue token 2. So we have to deal with calm the man before he attracts unwanted attention. Okay. Dialogue D2. You put your hands up. Please, there's no need to get upset. Just, the fuck do you mean there's no need to get upset? I ask you who the fuck you were. You think you can just ignore me like that, huh? He stumps toward you menacingly. If you have dominant compel, we don't. No, We don't. I think not. We have another one. We have dominant. Oh, we do have dominant combo, but not with us. Samuel would be able to use it. Oh, that is bad. We can't do that. So no, we have to fight him. Make a physical. Well, okay, that should be not a problem because, yeah, we have Thomas with us, our Bruger, and he basically rolls 3 dice and have 3 successes. So there's no point in me rolling the dice and there can't be any blood events. So yeah, we will definitely deal with them. I would have loved to use one of our disciplines actually, but okay, it is what it is. Without another moment's hesitation, you seize the bowl-turned ashtray and smash it across the janitor's temple. Oh man, this is brutal. He falls to the floor without a thump. With a thump. You noticed blood trickling from his scalp. He's moaning and seems to be in a bad shape. You most likely hit him too hard. Yeah, that makes sense for Thomas. The wound could be lethal. Call 911 to make... Nah, come on. Leave him on the floor. He'll be fine. Probably. No, we are not... No, that's not what we are going to... Sorry, no. That's... We can't do that. Okay, heartless. Oh no, in our second chapter already. You decide not to call 911. Not your problem. After you leave, the janitor lies there in agony. He writhes every now and then as the puddle of blood beneath him grows bigger and bigger. His eyes twitch and he croaks as he tries to call for help, but no words come out. Finally, he breathes his last. His wound proved lethal after all. All player characters lose one humanity. The beast within you grows stronger and your lack of humanity is showing. Okay, that is an amazing narrative, an amazing decision. This is what could have completely happened to when playing the role-playing game. Amazing stuff. So basically what's happened, we currently have these little humanity cards here. So we started off with humanity 7. It says your morality is still unmarked by the horrors of your new unlife. But we are now all players? All player characters. Indeed, not just, I would really say, why everyone? Why not the 2 that were involved in this one here? Okay, it is what it is. So let me pick up the new humanity cards actually. Oh, that's funny. So we all are now down to 6 humanity, which is good. Start each chapter with +1 intimidation bonus. I mean, this can't be too bad, right? Of course, if you ever go down to 0, you are basically out of the game. So, and if you look at 1, you start at a higher hunger level. So right now, this is pretty good, but I believe the more humanity you lose, it comes with a certain trade-off. I haven't looked at all of those cards and I won't. Okay, I believe we still have these 2 fellas going. So it's Samuel, they're moving 2 spaces, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then again we are moving into the next round, so basically down to 1. And I think he is now moving in this direction, and I'm relatively certain that he will look in that direction, basically making it feel more natural. Again, I don't really know what the round tracker is for, but I believe they only introduced us so we know where he will be at a certain point in a round. I think this is just here to help us. It's not really a timer in the end, so because it keeps on spinning through, right? But yeah, I think that's what it is. No, I like that. I mean, and I think when I looked at this booklet here, it simply says you move him each round according to a certain path. I think this also worked, but maybe there were questions, and I think this is relatively clear actually. The problem now is, what are we going to do? I believe next round he will be here. We just missed our window of opportunity, actually. I think he cannot look past this one here. How far? I think we can move again 3 spaces. So let's think about Nico. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So she could make it here in the next round, but then she will be seen. The question is that a problem now? I really don't know how to play this one out now, because again, I don't really feel like we have an actual timer now. So in theory, we could just stay behind him all the time, right? Because again, even if we are now going to 0 rounds, it's recharging to full, right? So that's not the idea. I believe this chapter is here to slowly introduce you to new elements like sneaking and maybe these patrol routes and whatnot. So I could imagine that in a later chapter there is an actual timer actually, so where you have to really think this through. So right now that's what it is. So we do know that if we happen to run into his line of sight, things are not so bad. So I guess I am going to do that now. I'm not sure if that's the best thing, but I believe we have read somewhere that time is of the essence. So we are moving, we are starting with her. We can turn around during our turn as much as we want. So we are moving 1, 2, 3 spaces over here. Or should we, wait a second, 1, 2, or should we move him? Because, no, it doesn't matter. I believe they're both, yeah, they were both at the same spot. So she's moving in here. From here she shouldn't be seen actually. He will simply follow her like this, and these guys I believe should be also fine. We could move them in here actually, and he wouldn't be seen actually. I don't know, but she's our best sneak expert, right? So no, we are moving into the next round, round 0, which means he is moving in here and he's looking at this direction. He cannot look through that, so we are still fine. And now I really do think that it does matter, I believe at least, when these guys are moving at the start of the round or at the end of the round. That's really a pity. Maybe I should have checked that, but okay. It is what it is now. But actually, maybe, I think it now resets to 4 actually already, exactly. Maybe we can make it, because if he's moving in here, let me just take out a foot. We have one here, right? So he will be here and he will be looking upwards. So if I'm standing here with Nico, no, I think we should be okay actually. Absolutely. So we'll move up 1, 2, 3 spaces in here. We are tiptoeing in there, and then 1, 2, 3. He cannot be, but I think I want him in here as well, right? So he's moving in here first, doesn't matter too much. They can move through each other. So I think let's do that. And let's see what this is. Hopefully she can deal with that. Oh, interesting. You enter the machine room cautiously. In the far left corner, oh, you find the ghoul. Your eyes lock. He tries to run away, but you block his path. Set Etienne St. Denis on 19 on the designated hex. But what does the watchman do with that, actually? Are we removing the watchman now? Oh yeah, indeed. Remove investigation token from that. And remove security guard if they're on the tile. They are. Okay, so I think we managed it quite okay, actually. And then we have to find this guy. And we are reading the first dialogue. Oh, this is getting tense now. Okay, I believe this is now the new situation. Not sure what this clue token does. Maybe we could have used it against the watchman. I don't know. But I don't know. No, we are reading the dialogue, so we are not adjacent to them anyway. I would have loved to have Samuel now somewhat closer, because I still feel he's our spiritual leader of the coterie. But yeah, let's read Etienne the Ghoul dialogue D1. Who are you? Etienne St. Denis snaps. The ghoul takes a step back, eyeing you. He seems jumpy, and assume he's suffering from vampire blood withdrawal. Yeah, that can happen. He probably hasn't had a fix in a while. You approach him. If you have clue token 2, okay, we do have that actually. Ooh, if you are Nico Miller, ask him about the missing Toreador. Oh, wow, we have so many options. And I think now, yeah, she will absolutely go for it. Yeah, I mean, she's Nico, she did the job. No, absolutely, we are asking for the Toreador. That really feels so thematic now. This is what I like about this game. Cool. One glance at the frightened ghoul before you tells you this might not be the way. Furthermore, the blood bond he has with the Sabbath priest is clearly weakening, and he's suffering from intense withdrawal. You remember those days back when you constantly pestered Philippe to give you your next fix. How you both adored and hated it, that feeling of being chained to him, and the guilt he felt for indulging you. You decide to come even closer to the ghoul, a soft expression on your face. Hey. It's all right. We are not here to hurt you. We just want to talk. The man seems hesitant. My name's Nico. What's yours? Etienne, you smile at him. Hey Etienne, some kindred I know are missing. One of them is very dear to me. His name is Philippe. Would you happen to know what happened to him? Take the likable effect card and okay, and then if we have glue token to show him the shotgun you found and demand answers. Cool. Let's have a look at the effect card first. Likable, everyone's best friend. Plus success to your next persuasion check. Okay, cool. Discard after use. Yeah, that's perfect for him. So now we will continue to ask him, show him the shotgun you found and demand answers. So yes, we have that. If you have, what would happen? No, we can do that. Interesting. Time to get him talking. You hope his blood bond with his master is fading away. Perhaps he only got his last blood fix quite some time ago, considering he's most likely of low status. You show him the shotgun you found earlier. What's this for? We saw a bunch of disassembled weapons along with it. I'm not gonna tell you shit, he says. Rough him up a bit in order to loosen his tongue. Try to bargain with him in order to get the information you desire. Tell him he's already failed his mission. I think, the Toreador in me would like to bargain with him. I think the last one is something maybe Samuel or Harold would be doing. Rough him up would be a Thomas thing. So I think the best thing for her would be... yeah, we are trying to bargain with him. A generous offer. Tell you what, if you tell us everything you know, we'll make sure to keep you safe. You'll be under our protection. The Sabbat won't be able to get to you. The Ghoul stares at you skeptically. The hell are you gonna do? Nah, I want something that will actually benefit me, like for real. Don't think you're in a position to refuse to help. We already have you cornered. You might as well talk before we withdraw our generous offer. The Ghoul's tough facade gradually fades away. I can't. There's nothing you can do. They'll kill me anyway. Would you rather know you're gonna die? Or hold on to the hope that someone might be able to protect you? The Ghoul seems to hesitate. All right, I'll tell you what I know. My boss is responsible for the kidnapping of some artsy vampire folks. Were they Toreador? Yeah, I don't know much about that though. My job is something else entirely. What is it then? The Ghoul looks up to you. He's growing increasingly frantic and keeps glancing at the door. You see that he's trembling. Okay, something bad is happening now. Something strange. I'm supposed to smuggle and prepare weapons to fight this thing. You raise an eyebrow. What thing, you ask? I don't know. Please don't hit me. He anticipates your move, putting his hands up. You roll your eyes. He won't hit you if you just talk. I know the boss wants to take down this strange creature. That's what the weapons are for. You wonder what creature the Sabbat is after and why. Looks like they're planning something big. That really all you know? Yeah, it is. Right. D30. You take a step forward toward the Ghoul and his eye widen in panic. What are you doing? He asks. You start sniffing and notice something odd. When you look down, something on the Ghoul grabs your attention. Focus on the smell or focus on what caught your eye. What should she do? Mental plus awareness? Mental plus occult? No, I think, in this case we have to game it somewhat. We will focus on what caught your eye. We could use blood, I believe, right? Yeah, indeed, because we could go for an awareness check. We could do the sense the unseen. Add your Auspex level as automatic successes to your awareness and insight skill check. So we can do that once per page, basically using one of our disciplines. So we will do that. So we will put it in effect. That will go in there. We will have to roll the die. Again, the so-called rouse check. And we are okay in this case. So we are getting a +1, basically. +1 auto success. Of course, we still have to make it. Mental is 2 dice for her. Awareness is 1. So we have 2 auto successes already. So I think nothing bad can happen here, actually. So we are reading this. You look down briefly and something catches your eye. The pendant on the Ghoul's neck. It seems new and reflects the surrounding light. Where'd you get that? It's a good luck charm my wife got for me. For some reason you doubt the sincerity of his response, but why would he lie about the provenance of a simple silver necklace? The wind blows strongly, causing some resonance. The Ghoul immediately jumps, terrified. They're here, he breathes. The Sabbat, they're here. You wait, hoping his paranoia will diminish. They're going to... Oh God! Etienne Saint-Denis seems lost in his own head. Whatever he's picturing, it seems to be filling him with absolute dread. You grab and shake him. Hey! He stares straight into your eyes. Then he pushes you with surprising strength. Before you can recover, he takes off, dashing through the door. You chase after him. Sweet escape. You chase after the ghoul. He makes it all the way to the loading dock before you block his path. The window is open. The air is chilly. The ghoul slowly backs away from you. Wow, this is so tense, man. We are going into the next one. You catch Etienne, who is now out of breath, right before he can leave the building. Instead, you corner him inside the loading dock. The night air is chilly. The window's open. Please, I've told you everything you need to know. Just let me go. We still need more info before we can let you do that. He watches you intently. We need to know more about what the Sabbat priest is plotting. Look, I'm just his servant, all right? I'm like walking furniture in that dude's eyes. There's not much I can tell you. You decide to push him into revealing one last key bit of information. What about the weapons? Do you make them here? Where's this creature you mentioned? I don't think he would know that. Let's go for the obvious part. The weapons? Yeah. The ghoul seems unsure whether he should respond. His face seems to be growing paler by the minute. His eyes briefly scan the room, but finally he seems to decide that any attempt to flee is bound to result in failure in size. I make them at my place, back at my apartment. You raise your eyebrows. So what? You create the pieces needed to assemble a full-blown shotgun all by yourself? No, not exactly. I'm actually just in charge of making ammunition. The weapons themselves, we steal the unassembled parts, which is what you found earlier. Except for the fully assembled one you found, I was using that one as a test. Test for what? To kill that creature you mentioned earlier? But the ghoul is no longer listening. Instead, he seems fixated on something. You follow the direction of his gaze. He's staring at the window. Ask him to give you the key to his apartment. Yeah, we are likable. He really likes us. So we get a +1 success on our next text. So social plus persuasion, which is 5, so 6. So we have 3 difficulty already. So with a difficulty, we have lost it. That's the problem, but we have made it. If I'm gonna investigate, I'm gonna need the keys to your apartment. You can't go back there. Anyway, it's the first place the Sabbat will come looking. The ghoul's trance seems to weaken lightly at the mention of the Sabbat. All right, but you gotta promise me something. What? That nothing will happen to my wife. Bites his nails as he awaits your response. All right, we'll make sure nothing happens to her. The ghoul sighs with relief, then removes a set of keys from his pocket. His hand shakes as he gives them to you. Okay, take the set of keys and take the Vampire's Oath effect card. Oh, wow. This is... Wow, again, this is really one of those chapters. It's exceptionally well written. I like that a lot. So I believe we already knew the set of keys. We had that in the first chapter. We have given this away to these punks and discard after usage or at the end of the chapter. Maybe we are being told to keep them, I don't know. And here's the Vampire's Oath coterie card. A word once given can never be taken back. Discard when extracted. Okay, that is interesting. This is truly interesting. No way out. The cold breeze blows through the open window. Everything is deathly quiet and the atmosphere is tense. Something's wrong with Etienne Saint-Denis. Etienne? Etienne? You call out. Your eyes start toward the exit. You assume he'll try to bypassing you any second now. His blank expression concerns you, however. It's like you're barely even there. He looks pale and ghastly and takes a couple steps backward toward the window. I've said too much. Before you can react, the Sabbat ghoul lets himself fall into the void. As soon as the shock has worn off, you dash toward him, but it's too late. As you look through the window, your eyes glance furtively around until they finally rest upon an increasingly growing red spot on the ground. It's Etienne's body, sprawled in an obviously unnatural position. A pool of blood is foaming under him, staining the asphalt. You hear the 2 workers scream and see them run towards the corpse of what was once Etienne Saint-Denis. By the time the police and the ambulance arrive, you're already long gone. You can now read its conclusion of chapter 2. Okay, we didn't see a fight. I'm completely okay with that. I really like the idea that we are not always running into this piece. Oof, wow, really nicely done. this is something I highly enjoy. Hopefully it was somewhat fun to watch and listen to. But let's read the conclusion first. You wait for the driver to show up. This place is deserted and you find yourself alone, lost in thoughts. Your attention is briefly solicited by a noise in the dumpsters behind you. A lone rat runs off and hides beneath the trash littering the place. You resume your train of thoughts while pacing back and forth by the curb. This whole affair with the Sabbath is getting increasingly worrisome. You decide not to tell Caleb of your discovery just yet, as there's still a couple of things you'd like to investigate on your own first. You hear another noise and snap out of your reverie. A car slows down, then comes to a halt right before you. Your driver has arrived. Time to think of your next step. So we are gaining 5 experience points each. That is great. And we are gaining 3 boon. And again, boon is something we can spend before we are moving into the next chapter. So here are those boon tokens. Again, that's our currency. There's a little bit more down here actually. If you have the set of keys, you may now play chapter 4, the apartment. If you have written note, completely branching out. Oh man, that is so cool. But yeah, we have the set of keys. If we have both items, you may choose which chapter to play. Yeah, we only have the key, so we are totally going into the next chapter, the apartment. But wow, I really enjoyed this one. I hopefully haven't messed things up too bad, but this was really, really cool. I really hope you are not too disappointed that we didn't see an actual combat in this one here, but I really like that. I really like the more investigation-y kind of things, the story that slowly unfolded. So we are going still after this whole Sabbath thing. So first of all, in the first chapter, they were loading these corpses into a van from the graveyard, right? Or from a park? Was it a graveyard or no, it was a park actually, right? And in this one here, we are now found out, hey, they're trying to build some weapons to go after a massive creature of some sort, and now we have the keys to that basically of that apartment from poor Etienne here, and this will be basically our next chapter to go on. Wow, I really hope you somewhat enjoyed this one. I had a blast and I'm still enjoying this game very, very much, even though there are still 1 or 2 things that are not entirely clear to me, like this round tracker here and when the whatever watchman would move. But in the end, I believe it didn't really matter too much. So I think you simply have to bring some reason, some logic, some common sense into this whole thing. And yeah, before I forget, huge shout out to all of your patrons and channel members. You guys are truly, truly amazing. Can't tell how much I appreciate all your support. And I think it's now also time to hear from you. If you want me to carry on playing this game on camera, I would love to actually, but of course I don't want to do that for myself. I can play this game easily and much quicker without all the editing and camera shots and whatnot. But actually, I would be really, really cool to play this together with you going forward. But just let me know what you think. And yeah, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. Next video will most likely not be another Vampires chapters. I will do something else in the meantime. Again, the idea is really to spread this out a little bit, but also not too far apart each episode, because I will then start to forget all the rules. Right now, I still feel I'm okay. Let's put it like this. Anyway, again, hope to see you soon. And yeah, until then, bye-bye.